All up and down this city. I've been to St. Paul. I saw people looting. I literally saw people starting fires that weren't us, you know. So it's just like, it's crazy to see the world blaming it on us, you know. Because it's just like, we're seeing this shit with our, sorry, excuse my language. We're seeing this with our own eyes. And the media just sees it through a lens. And that's just the difference between us and them. The difference between us and everybody that left from earlier is we're willing to make sacrifices, you know. Everybody that's been out here every night, it's not just me, it's not just you, it's not just you, you know. Everybody that's been out here pretty much every single day, every single night, we're the ones willing to sacrifice. We'll sacrifice for our city. I'd take my life for this entire city. Because we are, at the end of the day, we're all family.
Community.
You know? And it's like,
we all about it.
Exactly. We don't get a lot of happy days over here. You know what I mean? We don't get we don't get a lot. Like, we get pushed down, we get oppressed because of our skin color, because of our superpowers, you know?
We gotta lay down and be quiet.
Exactly. They're constantly telling us to lay down and be quiet. And at the end of the day, when you think, oh, we're going to a club with all black people, it's about to be loud in there. That's what you think. So why would we be quiet just because the police are telling us to be quiet?
Right. No.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So speaking of police, another thing that I've been saying that we really need to work on, if we want to take down the police force, which we do, and which we will, the first step that we need to do is be able to work together as a community.
Yes.
We do know that in every race, in every single race, there are gangs. It's not just black race. It's not. There's mafias, there's cartels, there's all sorts of mess out there. But if we really want to take that down, if we want to be the community that's like, we build our own police force, we don't need a police officer in South Minneapolis over here in that's from Oakdale, you know what I mean?
Facts.
Community.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need our sons and daughters as police officers being able to take care of somebody. You see a kid in the middle of the street, stop your car and make sure that everybody else stops too.
Community.
You know, if you see that somebody gave a counterfeit 20, that could have been handled like, hey man, don't do that again. Here's a ticket. Without the police even being there, exactly.
Community.
But
Brother, don't do
day,
that. That's probably
as police, their job is to protect and serve. Their job is to protect and serve us, right?
Community.
Who are they protecting? Who are they serving?
Exactly. They're only protecting and serving themselves.
There's nothing they won't make work.
It's serve and protect, not protect and
That's the
serve.
boys'
So
club.
what we as a community. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It wasn't me.
I
seen it fly
built a
down
studio
there.
in Minneapolis, so if anybody's an artist, photographer, anything like that, please come through. Please come through.
Sculptures, though.
That's fine. I'd love to have
Let's
some
not
of
finish
that.
talking.
But we gotta build our community together. We can't have exactly, but we gotta keep
If
building.
we have one, we
If
gotta show it.
Imagine
Show
if we
it.
had 100 more people out here right now.
1,000.
Imagine if we had 1,000 more people out here
A
right
million.
now. Exactly. We have the world on our
We
side
need,
right now.
we need everybody.
Okay? We
Like
need
we're standing out here right now.
Watching you all night on
Like we're standing out here right
People
now.
in London.
The same thing since Monday.
Okay.
Since Monday.
Everybody's been on our side because everybody knows what's right and what's wrong. Just because the police tell us, oh, that's wrong, oh, you have to stay in the house. What curfew? It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning right now. What curfew? I thought curfew started at 9 or 10. It ended at 4.
Well, according to grown people, we don't have a curfew.
Okay,
If
and then
you're
they got the nerve to
17,
try to
you got
arrest
a
us?
12 o'clock curfew. If
Okay.
you're 16, you got an 11 o'clock curfew.
that's what it is.
If you're 15 or 14, you have a 10 o'clock curfew.
Okay, and under that, you better be in the house before the streetlights come on.
Otherwise, you're going to
She knows,
juvie.
bro.
Otherwise, you're going to
Okay.
juvie.
That's how we was raised.
And it's just like the first thing that we got to do is like we got to stop with letting the stereotypes be stereotypes and letting them be true.
Yeah.
When I think gang member, because like I do not affiliate in gangs whatsoever. I have family that does though. I was raised over here. My family was
The
raised
biggest
outside.
gang is the police.
Okay.
The biggest gang is the police.
When they think gangs about us, they think how we got gangs against each other. When I think gang, I think you working with a group of people. You all working together, no matter if your color is red, blue, gray, purple, orange, whatever it is. it should be all united. And at the end of the day,
Unity.
it's black because black is all the colors put together.
Black.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Black is beautiful. So our first step is building our community. Next, we're gonna get that police force taken down and build our own. This is 38th and Floyd, right?
Yeah, 38th and Floyd.
38th and Floyd, right?
38th and Floyd.
Okay.
All in it together.
Okay.
All in it together.
Y'all are beautiful. Thanks for being out here. For real.
Hell yeah.
That was powerful. Now back to regular broadcasting.
Did you drop a cigarette?
No, I quit.
Who sings out here?
Not me. I ain't got the voice for
One thing
it.
I haven't heard out here is people come together and sing a song.
I mean, I can, but what song should I get?
I mean,
It's peaceful. It's quiet tonight, guys.
I don't know if they sing this.
I'm just playing. I'm just.
Catholics, Lutherans, Baptists. What else? Denounce.
What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. That's a good one.
You know the words?
Not as well as some people do. If we got it going, though, I'll go.
Lean on me when you're not strong,
And I'll be,
and I'll be your friend.
and I'll help you.
I help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Lean on me.
We all
Need somebody to lean on.
I just might.
And you need a hand.
You'll need somebody to lean on. Know me. Not strong. And I'll be your friend. And I'll be carry on. Oh, it won't be long. I'm gonna need
My
somebody
community
to
to lean
lean on. There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Together to sing a song.
Let's clap it up.
Let's clap it out.
Let's have a round of applause.
A round of applause for Around the World, bro. This will be going online. The world's gonna see this shit.
That's how community comes together, bro.
Yeah, through music, through dancing, bro.
That's how community comes together.
I guess gained the name of Cowboy.
Yeah.
Around. I was up for 5 days when all the fires were going on, running around, getting friends and family just to a safe place because the curfew had started. And ain't nobody known what was going to happen.
Yep.
And, you know, afterwards, as soon as they started firing on medical personnel,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an ex-medic in the Army National Guard. I'm down in these streets every day. My friends live here, my family live here. And when the community got jacked, you know, you can't get food, you can't get cigarettes, you can't gas, nothing. Nothing. You can't, you know, diapers, just necessities. So, my cousin Lauren started gathering items and gathering funds and whatnot, and I've been able to bring down items every day, sandwiches, food, drinks, whatnot. JL and Sergio and, you know, Noble and everybody, you know, it's set me up with a spot to park so I can come and go and just keep bringing food. We've been donated, I think we're upwards of $4,000, $5,000.
Yep. Yep. It's that community outreach, man.
Right now, I got a bunch of snacks, cigarettes, wraps, whatever. I mean, it ain't just
Necessities.
food. If you need anybody sees anyone needs something, send them my way.
Right.
I got nothing but money to if there's items you want, let me know.
Thank
I'll
you.
get it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone
Please.
appreciates you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for everybody being here, being peaceful. You know, I know a lot of people saw me carrying around a sword yesterday, and you know what?
It's right here.
Well,
I did
Sword
that.
police.
This is
Yes.
the side,
Cody's got
but
a sword.
you know, damn it, I don't want to use it.
Yeah.
That it's a defensive thing, but it's to show. If you're gonna try and come in here and break up something as beautiful as what is going on here, and you're gonna try and hurt people, I'm done standing down and letting someone else get hurt. I will
Yeah.
gladly throw my body in front of any single one of these people that are here. Anybody that's out there not able to make it for whatever reason. If you see something, say something, and if you are able to help, help. Yes, my dear.
I do not mean to. No, I don't want to get on the
Oh, no,
loudspeaker.
please.
I just want to know if, I know my voice is like gone. I just want to know if anyone was here. I think it was the first night that like everyone gathered, and it was amount of people, if not a few more.
Yeah.
But when who ran?
I gotta see
Nobody, because we're in it together.
My right leg
But
tried to go.
when like curfew came and people like started to disperse because they were nervous, they didn't know what was going to happen, and someone tried to break into the speedway, and just the crowd immediately, like everyone just moved.
Yeah.
And nobody was hurt, nobody needed an ambulance, nothing. But whoever was here and in that crowd, like they stood up. It was amazing to see on that. Like I wish I could have been here, but like I said, I've been glued to that live.
So
Either way, but they just walked out and they're like, we will not stand for this. You do not come in here and bring that negativity out. We see
So
you. Go.
about that, to clarify real quick, the dude who was actually seen doing something, he was actually boarding up the door.
Okay,
He was
so there's still
overboarding
no
up the door,
violence, and
yes.
It's still everyone ran over. to
Yeah,
see.
and he was
Yeah.
from the community, so he's felt pretty hurt by the fact that like people have been telling him to get out of here because these are his streets.
Oh, he didn't
You
see
know?
them.
No. I mean, we
couldn't without
did. We
people,
tried,
but
but
still,
like
yeah.
the way that everybody assumed automatically that
I think everyone was so. I have no idea
we were
how anyone
tensions
was
were high,
thinking.
and I get that, but like I wanted to clarify for a fact that the dude, I know the dude personally, he wasn't actually trying to do it.
That, like,
Yeah, dude.
seriously. Yeah.
We need that kind of truth to come out, though. Like we don't need that kind of negativity to be like spun around and played upon. Like we actually need to know the truth, and if we're going to, like, if we're going to teach our kids to like actually think about the things that we're doing that are changing history, so that they don't repeat themselves, we got to start with the truth.
Yes.
We got to have them face the facts.
Yeah.
This is what this country is founded
Knowledge is
upon.
power, like-
It is.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to teaching the youth about what they are going to need to know to run this country, to run this world
Right.
once we step out of the way. Are we trying to hand them a world that's burned to the ground? No, we're trying to hand them something peaceful, dude. That's what we all want.
It's something that's sustainable.
Yeah, something that's
that,
sustainable.
Like we have every right to have dignity and to walk uprightly and speak righteously with our voices here in these streets tonight.
Right.
We have
And without
we have
being frustrated.
we have been denied.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We have been denied by various systems throughout history the ability to just be in these, just to be like in your communities and speak about things that you care about as a black man.
Yeah.
And my mom is white and my dad is black from Mississippi, and I grew up feeling oppressed. Well, not at the time feeling oppressed, but like I was oppressed because I grew up in a space that was just all white Anglo-Saxon Protestant people. I was in diaspora.
Yeah.
When I came to Minneapolis 3 years ago from Duluth, where I went to school, it was me trying to connect with culture,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find my culture and become more and more like.
There were options here.
There was options.
Yeah, I come from a
There's
small
more
town.
people
Yeah,
to
small
talk
mind.
to here.
Yeah.
There's more people to engage with.
Yeah.
There's more people to teach.
You can be yourself
You
here.
can be yourself
You
here.
don't have to worry. You don't
have to worry.
Yep.
And that's what makes this so sacred to me, is that this is my home. This is where I built that thing in myself.
Yeah.
To be able to be righteous, and be what I am,
Yep.
like I'm also in the rave community here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very like down low.
I'm
Like
bugging
shout out
this guy
to
maybe I've seen
Telephone.
it every time.
Shout out
We
to
have a rave community.
yes.
Oh, it's huge here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stuck at fish lot for 10 hours.
Anyway.
Very much so.
Yes.
And they're supporting this movement in a huge way. They are bringing in resources from Wisconsin,
Right.
from all like the neighboring burbs where all ravers live, and they're moving about resources throughout this city in real ways.
Right.
There's so many ways to support this movement.
Oh,
Rave
shit,
Rave
yes.
is gonna come in. Rave is gonna come in when there's like systems in place, you know, like
Right.
when there's order, when there's like right now, right? We have all of these coalitions.
Please tell me it was doing with the loudspeaker.
Yeah, right now
It would just be a scare
right now
tactic anyways.
we're coalition building. Once we have coalitions, then that is when like we can start to introduce like subtleties in Black culture
Right.
that have been around for forever. You know, like that. Like rave is a Black thing.
Yeah,
You know, rave comes from gay clubs in Chicago.
yeah, yeah.
So
Chicago
It's a
house,
huge
the
acceptance
Chicago house scene
culture.
is huge.
It's a huge, yeah.
so
Yeah,
that is
everything we know
something.
about Chief Keef today comes from Chicago house.
So something that
That's
we need
awesome.
we need
Yeah,
to
it's
we
true.
need to
It is.
bring
No, it is.
we need
Yeah.
to bring all flavors of Black culture into this space. We need to bring like all flavors of Latino, all flavors of like we had a native elder here, Bob, who set up Circle
Amazing.
the other
Yep.
night,
Yeah.
and that was probably one of the most
Wasn't
transformative
here.
experiences I've had in the city ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Yep. And
People
with
speaking
Corey?
straight truth, you know.
Has anyone been here when Corey Moore was here talking and
Yeah.
speaking? And
I got that recorded, like a
yeah,
20-minute
and then he
speech of
finally came
his.
back last night.
It was fucking awesome to see him again, man.
Again last night, and he has a Facebook group, and I wish that I could think of it off the top of my head. I'm gonna pull it up if anyone else wants to.
Yeah.
But I'll have it so when. Okay, you know what? Actually, I re-downloaded the app. I'm not big on social media. It's not like a main concern of mine, but like I said, I re-downloaded the app finally. Okay.
I'm going off of advice that Obama was putting out in this town hall special. We gotta build coalitions. We gotta have people like on the ground communicating with one another and talking about, all right, how are we gonna move forward?
Right.
Not these like little groups that there's infighting going on. How are we
Yeah.
gonna move forward?
Yeah.
And every time that we start to kind of get away from center, we need to come back to George Floyd.
Yep. I agree.
I seen a de-escalation the other day that was so wonderful, right? It was a man who was speaking all lives matter, and he wouldn't stop, and he kept saying it over and over again. And all this group that was sitting in this circle did the other day was say George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
That's how powerful this is. George Floyd. George
All in
Floyd.
numbers. No
And then
doubt.
it was stomped out. It was over before it even started. So if you guys could rely on anything, we gotta just keep the faith in George Floyd. You know?
For real.
My
Yeah.
hope lies in George Floyd.
Yep.
Yep.
That's where my hope is.
Yep.
That this movement will carry on.
George Floyd.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. To go off of that a little bit, I'm Minneapolis through and through, just so you guys know. My name is Austin. I grew
Nice
up
to meet
just,
you.
Just down Chicago, or not Chicago, just down the way on Nicollet, right next to the old Shorty and Wags, if you guys know where that is. I've lived all around the city in Camden, over north, and Wyndham neighborhood. But one of the things that you touched on that I kind of want to talk about that I don't think that especially white people highlight enough is just how many black and brown bodies have been sacrificed for us to be here as white people standing on this. And in today's world, we have Drew Brees, who's talking about how this flag means so much and how his grandparents fought in these wars, but people forget that there were just as many black and brown bodies fighting in those wars.
Yep.
With us that were sacrificing to get here.
Yes.
That were promised freedom and came back and couldn't wear their uniforms. Got beaten, got thrown in jail for wearing their uniforms, right? Who sacrificed so much. And so I think it's important to remember that, like, it's not just the forefathers and the history that we try to get taught in basic education, but there's so many black and brown bodies. It's the Octavia Butlers of the world. It's the Audre Lordes, Muhammad Ali. There's been so many figures that have put their lives on the line and sacrificed for white people to be here. And so I think you know, just speaking from my heart, from my perspective, like, I'm just so ready to return that. You know what I mean? I'm ready to sacrifice everything for this cause, not just because I'm from this city and I've been in these streets, but because I know that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the black and brown men and women that have influenced me throughout my life. You know, coaches, teachers, really everything.
You pulled out a hip hop reference, so I'm assuming the hip hop culture,
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I mean,
Yes.
it's hard not to here in the Twin Cities, you know.
hip hop will save lives, man. Like,
Yes,
For
and
real.
I coach football now at De La Salle High School, and so the youth, you know, are keeping me up to date with all that
You know
stuff.
Chaz?
What's that?
You know Chaz?
I do. Yeah, no, Chaz. Chaz is great. Chaz Lemon. Yeah,
I went to
he's
college with him, man.
really okay.
Small
Yeah,
world.
the De La Salle alumni here in the Twin Cities is so strong. De La Salle has been such a huge transformative experience for my life. But that's kind of getting off the point. The point that really I just wanted to say was that, like, you know, as whiteness, as white people, there's so many black and brown bodies that have been sacrificed to uphold that whiteness, and I think it's important to, like, acknowledge that and to understand that, like, the whiteness we see today was not only fought by, like, people like Robert E. Lee, by presidents who are glorified. It was fought by so many black and brown bodies across the whole country. So I think that's something that gets often overlooked. I think it's just how much it wasn't white people that led us to get to this movement. You know, I mean, white people have pushed a narrative that has been
I'll take
unhealthy,
credit for
sick.
anything in a second as
You
well,
know,
too.
but it,
At least you can admit it.
yeah, but the thing that I've been kind of starting to realize as I'm unpacking and continuing to learn is that, like, it's almost like whiteness has stripped black and brown people of their personhood to some extent. Because when we see headlines, when we see news, when we talk about it, it's always, I don't know if anyone saw, like, the black officer in Atlanta who was speaking out, right? He was like, oh, well, fuck those guys. I told those guys to shut the fuck up. Every single headline was, oh, black officer speaks out against this. Black officer does this, right?
Yep. They make it about race.
Officers murder
Like how everyone's
black men in the
defiant
streets,
here
right?
every night.
When they talk about
Everyone's
all
peaceful.
these officers that murdered George Floyd, they all say ex-police officers, right? They don't say anything about their race. But anytime it comes to someone who's a black and brown body, they're a black person first before they're a person.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think that has something that whiteness has perpetuated that I'm continuing to recognize and to see is that black and brown bodies don't get to be people first as white people do. They have to be black and brown first, and then they're people after.
Literally classified
Because-
as that.
Yeah.
Literally,
Because if they don't do that, then the whole white falls apart.
Yeah.
You know, there's an antithesis. You know, so it's like, so if there isn't that contrast, like black and white, or brown, or yellow, white falls apart.
Shit like
then-
this. Shit like this. Like big enough.
Yeah.
You know? That shit didn't happen, you know, that long ago. You know, like we got like grandparents that fucking owned people.
We have white allies that are more stronger in their national identity, like where they come from, and they feel more attached to that part of their identity than they do like their whiteness and race, you know. And I've been meeting some of those people in this movement, and I just find that they're, you know, like they're taking huge risks just to be here from out of their countries to come here and fight for this cause. It's global. We're here from so many different experiences in our lives. You know, like there's some things that happened in my life that if they didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. You know, so
Yep.
we're very fortunate, and I think we're called here. You know, like I don't know if you guys have ever read. It's a book by Stephen King. It's called The Stand.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but I've even put it on Facebook like a reference and nobody knew. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I mean, I get it. It's kind of not a very common movie and it's like a long book and a long movie as well, you know, like, but
Yep.
I'm like, man, people really aren't as woke as I think they are, you know, like, it's crazy.
There's like,
Yeah.
the Stand has a narrative that's very common. You know, it's very common. It's good for people. There's good in righteousness that we are. This has become a beacon, you know, for people to be righteous where they are. I have friends in my dinky ass small hometown still fucking technically a village because under a population of 5,000 who are speaking out against racism and oppression in their small towns in like in their own way, the best way that they can, because it's such a hostile environment for them. Like the cult of MAGA has kind of taken over those spaces a lot in rural areas.
Yeah.
So
that's how it is.
And they're making themselves targets to their peers, their family. You know, they're like, there are people who are down for this cause in the most unlikely places. You know.
Yeah.
And we're here, at the center. So.
Honestly, like the world is watching, and I've said this before. Like, when you think about it, half the world is following the violent protests that we started. And half the world is watching our peaceful vigil here. This protest that has actually garnered, respect. It's garnered media attention, and it's gotten 4 officers within 3 days, of actually starting. It's gotten 4 officers arrested and charged. Like, that was quick. Yeah. We're trying to
fired in other places too.
Exactly. They've been turning in their badges. Yeah. They've been trying to hold themselves accountable. Like the lasting effects that we're starting to see came from a small movement. A lot of great changes, a lot of great movements, a lot of great causes started small like this. And that's why we've been trying to push this narrative so hard with your independent media.
Backpack journalism?
Yep. Exactly what I'm doing right now. They've been at the forefront with us.
Unicorn Riot, Andrew McConnell.
Yep.
These are backpack journalists, right? Backpack journalists is at the very heart of this movement. Unicorn's Riot the Unicorn Riot's coverage of the 3rd precinct the night when Minneapolis was burning
garnered worldwide attention.
It was
super quick.
Nobody fucking seen it.
I was there. I was watching what was happening to my city.
Yeah.
I drove down Lake so many times in my lifetime so far. And it's not, and I still don't feel like it's my home yet, because I've only been here for three years. But I'm out and about in the city, being a teacher, you have to be, you have to understand where you are.
Yeah.
And be able to connect with students and families where you are. And I was watching a place where I know that students are at home watching their community burn. And then other people were experiencing it very differently.
Right.
I've seen the bad actors. I've seen them out there. I've seen the people that are throwing fireworks. I've seen the people that are trying to throw the gas canisters back at the police.
Yep.
I've seen the people who are walking around with bats, with riot gear, like they're in, China right now. I don't know if you've seen the riot gear in China, but it was modeled very similar to that. They're, and they're waiting for opportunities like that where mayhem's happening.
Opportunists.
Yeah, they're opportunists. Mayhem invites people like that into spaces. Like,
for real.
This right here,
it opens that door.
This is a seal against that kind of mayhem. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm so glad I can be here. That we can continue to keep this going.
We're the thread.
I've been coming out here every night because I cannot allow mayhem to happen. I can't allow it to happen. Not in my community, not here, not where George died.
Right.
Fuck that. I want to put it all on the line for that. All the education, all the stuff that I've done to navigate the white world, I'm gonna put it all on the line because I know that it's righteous. That's how I feel.
When you think about the energy that we're putting into this, we're all connected by energy, at least in my opinion. Not many people believe that, but
you can feel it coming into the. I've always
exactly
energy coming into the cities, but this is a whole.
This is a whole new thing. People came together and connected for the first time in years.
Amazing.
People you've never even met, never even talked to before this last week. People that you would have maybe said, "All right, hi," and then walked on, down the street.
Yeah.
Watching that connection tie us into a rope that is literally holding the world together right now. We're at the epicenter of it all. In the grand scheme of things, we are that thread that's holding the world from utter chaos right now. And it's literally up to everyone here, all of us here, to keep that thread strong. Like, the more we're able to keep this movement going in a positive direction, the quicker we're going to have lasting change. Like I said earlier, 3 days. That's all it took for those 4 officers to be in jail. Granted, when you look at the overall scheme of things, it took a week. It took 3 or 4 days of violence and then 3 days of peace, and that really got our message across.
And the community, and then even after all that too, it's like people see on the like mainstream news, like people from our community at Red Wing, it's like 17,000. You know, like everyone's like, it's so terrible up there, and that's why I brought him, because his mom like is scared shitless and knows, like, I brought him to work with me. We work up here, like we do catering. I've been bartending up here for years. I've been at Bullwinkle's until the COVID, but I've been there a while. Otherwise, I like hop around downtown, fill in where needed. But it's like people only see that, like they don't see afterwards. After all that destruction, it didn't matter like who did it or what happened. People didn't have to be asked. They were out there in the streets.
Yeah,
Brooks. They were out there. On Lake Street and shit, there's hundreds. There's piles of hundreds of bags of garbage. Like, that's not the city. That's not the government. That's not the National Guard getting out of their truck. All they're doing is driving around, wasting fucking gas. Or for no reason. Like, it's so irritating that they're just like driving around smiling. Like, if you're not like patrolling an area because there's no people anyways, you just go and like sit. You know, like,
calm down for a minute. Like, chill.
Driving around intimidating. Like, why? I don't get it. But it's like, they weren't the ones that picked that up. That was the community. You think that that's the same community that destroyed stuff?
No.
It makes no sense. I try to tell that, like, I don't fight with, I'm 31 years old. I've been fighting for years with people in Red Wing, like, to try to open their eyes. And it's like, I'm done because they'll never get it. It's like, you cannot teach people who refuse to even skim over the study guide.
Yeah.
You can't. You cannot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not telling them my own stuff. I'm literally sharing live streams. I'm literally sharing other info. Like, yes, I've been up here in my own experiences, but they can experience it themselves through that live stream, make their own opinion, make up their own mind, like that kind of thing. And it's like, I've been bringing donations. Like, there's no way I can come up here an hour and come empty-handed. Like, no way.
Right.
Like, I got up here late. I wasn't able to carry in all my donations before curfew. So I'm gonna bring them back tomorrow. But I got a big bag of blunt wraps. You know, like I hear on live streams.
Fuck yeah, dude.
People are walking around like, oh, they're like, where's it? When I'm up here during the day, they're even like, who's got the wraps? You know, like. So I brought a bunch of those instead of like diapers and stuff, because I knew the community would be in, you know, with the curfew.
You brought out the necessities for the people who are going to be here after hours.
People don't understand that Minneapolis alone is 375,000 people. I don't know the population of St. Paul, I guess, but I mean, together, both cities, you got to be pushing up towards 1 million people.
Pretty fucking close.
Is that what they saw on the news? Was 1 million people out there doing this? You know, the elderly, the animals, they need stuff. The babies, like maybe their parents or whatever, but it's like everyone sees all the boarding up. That's what they show on the news. Yeah. Everything, like Dinkytown, completely boarded up.
Dinkytown's boarded up.
But not one thing, there's like nothing touched. Yeah. But it looks like mass destruction or something when you watch it on the news. Yeah. People don't understand that if a place isn't looted or, you know, like burned or something, which there's honestly not that many for how big this cities are, and it's boarded up for protection, for safety. It's not ruined. It's not. People don't understand that, and it's so irritating because they're like, "Oh, I support the movement, but I don't support the destruction." Like, then you don't support the movement. Then you don't support the movement.
There's business owners that like are well within their rights to be scared of the police too.
Yeah.
You know,
like, especially when it came to being indiscriminate about who they were attacking.
It was a business owner that called the police, wasn't it? I mean, no blame to him. He totally was not, you know, he knew the guy. I'm not talking any negativity, but it's like you said, business owners. Because they call and then they get reactions like that. Yeah. You know, like.
I mean, there was a business owner in Louisville, Kentucky, who was a restaurant owner. And I don't know if you guys know anything about living in the South, but in the South, everything's organized around food down there. You know? People come together around food. You know, they have lots of family dinners. There's lots of there's a family feel to the South.
Right.
Like, there's a southern It really
The
is.
Southern hospitality.
Southern hospitality.
There's those barbecues outside, like we were talking about. Just
Yep,
an
like-
hour
like they're here.
later,
And
yeah.
an elder restaurant owner in his community was shot by the police. His name is David. David McAtee.
Okay.
And
What's up,
this
Timmy?
is
He
a
served meals to the police daily.
served
Oh,
meals to
hell
daily.
no.
Single day, 53 years old.
Yeah,
Yep.
He was like feeding the devil.
he was shot. He was shot and killed.
He was just being a good man, dude. He was feeding human beings. You can't say that he was feeding the devil. Like, they're human beings that are doing their job.
Sorry, I
No, I get it. There's a lot of prejudice against, like, cops and shit, but, like, I'm former law enforcement myself, dude. All my people are hurting
So
right
he
now.
wasn't shot by the cops. He was just shot by the community.
He was shot by the cops, unfortunately, and that's part of the outrage is that they've been really indiscriminate with the way things have been handled around here, and like it gives guys like me and the people that I know and care about like a really bad name because they're out there in these streets as good individuals, good men. They see all this shit happening,
Right.
but there's absolutely nothing that they can do, and that's the problem with it. Is that stigma of not being able to basically stand up for yourself as well as standing up for what's right, because there's already the stigma of it's us against them. Right now, it's this side of the line against criminals and other people and civilians. You know, we're not checking each other like we should be. And granted, now that all of this has happened, we're starting to. But that's years, that's decades, that's centuries of oppression. And it's not just from our own police force. You see it in other militarized forces all around the world. You know, it's abuse everywhere.
You see that in the Navy with females.
Yeah.
The men on the ships will take advantage of the females, and they'll corner them in one of the back alleyways of the ship and rape them.
But there's
And-
no test, there's no bad person test to become a police officer. We all know that the KKK exists. We all know there's these discriminatory groups. We all know that there's hate in this world.
Yep.
And there's not a little box to check when you go to become a police officer or some type of law enforcement. I mean, shit, even doctors. I'm not, I'm just kind of like, it really made me think where it's like, we all know that they're out there and they're working in the communities.
I seen a headline.
They're all over, so of course there's going to...
I seen a headline the other day that racism could be
cops.
treated as like a public health crisis. You know, like it could be treated in that manner that it's like a public health crisis. That's something that we should address at a state level.
Right.
You know, and then depending on where you're at and what state, I think we're gonna have a little more laissez-faire attitude about getting rid of fucking racism in Minnesota.
Honestly, the way it's happened so quickly, we've been checking each other daily now. Like, our police forces, we've been checking them. They've been checking each other. Like, the fact that it's happened so quickly, I think it's going to be lasting change. But, like, it's getting that mindset ready for the change. It's that initial step of getting past, that initial stigma.
Bro, yeah, like we're pushing boundaries in fucking belief systems that have been fucking like
Set in their ways.
It's been crystal for so long.
Yeah.
They've been set in their ways
And,
for
like,
so long that it's
did
just
my
now
city
finally.
have to burn to get there? I don't know.
We'll never know.
People all the way back.
Did George have to die to get there?
No.
Is the price of what's happening right now a black man's life? Is that the price that someone had to pay?
Honestly, it's one of many.
There's a reason why people
It's
are
one of many.
bringing up the Jesus symbolism, and like I personally, me, I'm more agnostic, and I'll say it. I'll put myself out there. Does that mean that I don't believe in someone else's faith and want to tarnish one person's faith? No. But I see the symbolism, and there's a lot of people that will paint George to be a martyr, and as a black man, that it's hard because I don't want to believe that what's happened that he had to pay the cost,
Right.
He had to pay a price.
It shouldn't take a life. It
shouldn't take a life.
It shouldn't take...
No, all it should
type
take
of
is an
human
open
life.
ear and some time to sit down.
That's why we got to say no more. No
Right.
more. No
Right.
more.
I was thinking about that martyr question. Is he a martyr? And first I was like, I don't know what the fuck a martyr is. And then I was like, I guess I was thinking a martyr is someone who dies speaking the truth. They died.
Standing up for
They
what they
died.
believe
They
in,
died
yeah.
because they're speaking the truth, and his truth he was speaking was, "I don't want to die."
Yeah,
Right.
we're doing good.
He screamed for help.
We're
He
good.
did not want
Thank you.
to go.
Y'all just chilling, hanging
We're
out.
helping at the medic tent, so we're just helping people get warmed up.
Hell yeah, thanks. We
Oh,
appreciate it.
finally feels nice. I literally was sweating for like 10 hours.
If you need any water, food, there's some food down there too, okay?
Sweet. I'll probably get down there.
Another difficulty is like trying to sustain the movement and get people to become more involved is that, especially for white people, I don't think there's like a finish line when it comes to racism. You know what I mean? I don't think that there's like a certain amount of boxes that you can check where you can say like, I think it's more so a lifestyle choice,
Yep.
right? It's more so a decision that you dedicate to yourself to say like, I'm not. And I think that's a big problem that we have in Minnesota is a lot of the white people in Minnesota really like to kind of like donate, give money, and then like step away. You know what I mean? Just to kind of like dip in, dip out. But I think that really is just putting a Band-Aid on it. It's not really getting at the issue. And I think that's where a lot of people really struggle is they don't understand that there's no end game to it. There's no finish line. Like when it comes to racial equity, like it's a lifelong goal. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily even a goal that it has to be like, hey, I'm gonna make it my mission to like be more diverse and to like include people. But it's just a lifelong goal to just be accepting and to like get rid of those judgments and to continue to push your boundaries and continue to want to grow and to step out of your comfort zone. And I think that's where it struggles for a lot of people to like maintain is they're not ready to do that. They're not ready to make it a lifestyle change for them.
That's like going on a diet. People just want to go on a diet and just feel better about like themselves, basically. And then it's never a diet anyways. If you really want to lose weight and really make a change in yourself, it has to be a change, not just. I hate to compare anything to anything, but
if that's not like ingrained in your identity, who you are. Say like if you're a figure skater, if you're a hockey player, it's not like, you know, there are certain things you can do, just pick up one day and you're like, boom, I'm good at this. But there are certain things where it's like, if you haven't been doing this your whole life and all of a sudden you're in your 20s, your 30s, and now you're like, hey, let me pick up this new idea, let me try and change my way of thinking. That takes so much work and it's so hard. And so I think that's where education is so pivotal and it's such a big deal.
Real education.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a kindergarten teacher in Seattle right now, and they spent the last 2 weeks talking about race and reading children's books that have to do with just like pointing out differences and highlighting them and not tiptoeing around those subjects. And I just think that's so important. The earlier that we start that, because once people are in their 30s, once people are in their 40s, Tim Walz, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like they can put on a face, they can say words, but at the end of the day, it's really about who you are and your identity. You know, and that's I really don't think like accepting, like being comfortable around like different populations. I really think that's a skill that's very hard to hone when you haven't been exposed to that in your own. And it takes a lot of work to undo that and a lot of conscious effort to really say like, hey, I'm not going to perpetuate this idea.
There's so many small communities around, even just our own state, that have that small town, small-minded thinking. You kind of can't blame certain you can because people need to learn to bust out of it, but it's like that's what they've learned. They need to learn to knock it off. And break the cycle.
Like to my dad, I just had a discussion with my father about hallucinogens. I told him my belief was, some people. I mean, it was, if you believe in that, that.
I was psychedelic spirituality, bro. Like that's where I come from too.
So I was trying to, heed to his nature, be like, hey man, is God's, as I see it, it's fucking God's gift. There's like something in the human fucking consciousness, the brain that like whatever, like some people get muddled up, get stuck, or gets get all this fucking dumb shit in it.
It's like these limiting belief systems, bro. That keep people in arrested development, thinking like, you know what, they're black, I'm white, and I'm not kind of getting on this stick about like not seeing color, not seeing differences, but the ability to kind of reach across the aisle and say, well, what is something that I don't know about you that you can teach me? What is something that you don't know about me that I can teach? And we can meet halfway and have dialogue. And not debate, right? Not debate about like, you know, which is better and just getting these like arguments, but having dialogue, you know? Like something that I feel really strongly about is like podcasting. Like when I see like people who are obviously different, who can sit with each other and have dialogue for a long period of time, something happens in that space. I try to create dialogue in that classroom, critical dialogue where students, like, there's norms and you know, these are students with disabilities violating their emotional behavioral disabilities. But when I can get them to kind of speak their truth to one another and not really have it fall on deaf ear, and then also get them to like, you know, like validate each other's points, and then also respectfully disagree on things. Yeah. There's an art to be able to disagree with someone, and something that has to be taught. You know, it's not something you can just learn. You know, like it has to be taught. So I validate so many teachers that they really take the time, you know. Like the teaching is all about actually taking the time to learn the content, to deliver it in a way that's relevant to a student, and
sure, we all have, like,
relevant to a
teachers
community,
that-
relevant to, you know, like this whole thing about relevance. You know?
Culturally relevant teaching
Culturally
materials.
relevant,
You need
yeah.
teachers who are representative of their students, because you know students of color are diagnosed with autism at much higher rates because we just can't connect with our students. So it's creating the teachers, it's doing the work, kind of work.
It's doing the work. It's a lot of inner work. So, not to get on that.
No, but I mean, you're right. Like, it does take a lot of teaching, and, you know, it kind of starts with us, you know. Anything we do, we have to start teaching ourselves first, you know. It starts with us, you know, it starts with the OGs trying to teach us their message, right?
Yeah.
They're teaching us. Now we've got to learn how to listen.
Yeah.
You know, we've always been, I personally have been bad about it. Like, I was a teenager, dude. I was fucking angry all the time. I couldn't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. And then, like, one day, you know, I finally stopped, and I was like, dude, I'm really kind of, like, fucking up my life. Like, my mom has actually tried and pushed for me to get a scholarship, and I'm throwing it away. And so, you know, I fixed myself. Sorry, guys. I swear a lot.
Me too. Yeah, I have 2 kids, so when I'm not around them, it's hard.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't know if we would.
But yeah, so I ended up working, and like, I busted my butt, dude. I worked hard, and I graduated, and then I got that scholarship from my mom. It was at that moment, though, that I realized when I was screwing up, you know, I realized that, and I've always had this weird cliche, I've always wanted to help change the world. I just never thought it'd be so directly, you know, like that we would have such an active part.
Right.
But like, I started actually turning my stuff around because I realized I got 2 younger brothers watching me grow up angry, you know, losing my temper, fighting with people all the time. And you know, what do they see? That's all they see, anger and violence, like yelling, fighting, arguing all the time, you know? And I realized that at that young age, like, I've always wanted to help people, I've always wanted to change the world, but like, I had to start with myself, and that was the hardest part for me to accept, was like, and it took a minute, it took a while for me to actually turn my stuff around. Like, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
This is something
It's a
that
way of
was
learning.
like,
It's a product,
yeah.
You're a product of your environment, maybe, but
And-
still, it's what you know. Yeah.
But still, it was ingrained in us from the time that we were little. Our environment is a huge part of it. And so to
I
like,
often like to use the analogy. Somebody's a teacher around here. It's proper English.
You're right on.
but yeah.
Yeah. If we don't understand, it's not an analogy. I like to be concise.
Yeah, could be a metaphor.
Flying in an airplane. When you get on the airplane, like one of the first things they do is flight attendants give you the whole spiel or whatever, you know. So
Yep.
Okay, turbulence, blah blah. Oxygen mask will fall
Here's a
down.
preventative measure to not die if something goes
so
wrong.
What do you
right.
do? It's like, so
Gotta have a
you
safety plan.
Well, so what do you do? I mean, it says that like the second thing on there is affix your mask first before you're helping your child.
Yeah.
Which I like to use that a lot because,
Well, I mean, in all honesty,
when
like,
you're trying to help, when you're trying to help others.
Yeah.
You're trying to teach, others. You gotta make sure
you know what you're
good
doing.
first.
And this
Thank you for that.
this
I
is the
did not
space.
think that's where you were going for that. Thank you,
No,
because that is
real.
very impactful. Like that's, I'm
But it's
always
true.
This
trying
is
to,
the
like,
space for
think
me
of
that I
ways
feel like
to-
I can like come back to
Yeah.
something. Like during the day, like when you're out in these streets and you see all these people that are kind of watching this movement happen and not with it, like, and then also you see a police presence, you see like you're de-escalating, you're adjusting all of this media, all that stuff is going on at once,
Right.
And so it's like we're involved in so many facets of what's going on, and then like you could come here where right now it's pretty close to 4 o'clock and it's quiet and it's like serene.
Nobody's even. I haven't heard anybody even on a megaphone.
On a really good
lately,
night,
you could
be sitting around that circle and having the same conversation we're having right now, and just having circles, and just like one person has the mouthpiece and everyone else is listening, and it continues to move along. Like this is medicine,
Yeah, this is a form of healing.
for the people, and more people need to do circles like this. More people need to, this is something that is very transformative that comes from my native fellows. And I'm hoping that is something that we can continue to kind of build here. We have to.
There's never anything as like too much knowledge. I mean, I don't know, but it makes me think of that.
No.
It's like you can never have enough opinions. You can never, and it's not just memes on Facebook. It's not just opinions, but I mean like people who are here and on the, like maybe people who have been here have something negative to say about it. So be it. That if that's what they felt about it and how they felt about it, fine. But it's like I really like hearing people's feelings and emotions and stories and struggles, and it makes it more real.
Yeah, it does.
We
You find a way to relate on common
there we
ground.
go. We can relate with each other in certain ways and different ways. Like
that guy that was here the other day, who was a National Guard.
Yeah.
He was stationed here in Minnesota or in Minneapolis. And he decided to leave his company and come here and be here all night with us.
Yeah, I think that I had heard that.
And then he spoke up about. And then he spoke up about like him, like he couldn't do it anymore. He was Anishinaabe as well, and also I think he identified as LGBTQ, like a gay man.
Yeah.
And so like he just bared his soul to us,
strangers,
and it was welcomed,
yes,
and it was like, he could be validated and protected here in this space, and like something happened that night,
right.
like I wish this is something that it has been happening the past couple nights for various reasons. I mean, we had rain tonight, the night before. We had some safety things that we had to kind of put together. But that is something that I pledge to like continue to try and build here.
Yeah. Honestly, if we can get more people to start thinking like that as a whole, like, the president has basically said for his armed military force to violate our constitutional rights as human beings. For that National Guardsman, for him to lay down everything and just say, hey, like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I'm one of these guys. This is my community. Like, that's the kind of thinking we're trying to change. Like, it's again, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take time.
Values.
Yes. It's teaching them from a young age that we have these things called morals and values, that we have to accept them, and that they are and can be used as rules and boundaries.
Right.
Like, look at what we're doing here. We've got patrols. We've got a barrier set up all the way around, right?
Yeah.
You know why that is? Our morals are keeping us from protecting, well, it's basically keeping us around here to protect this neighborhood, we feel responsible for all the shit that's already happened. There was a drive-by shooting right there on that street, third house in. You know, we felt responsible because guess what? This is the epicenter of change. Now we're doing something about it. It was teaching us morals at a young age that got us active and a part of our community. Granted, we didn't have any real organizers before all of this really started happening. We just started patrolling and keeping in contact with each other, saying, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so. We're out here patrolling. Let us know if you need anything. We'll let you know if we see stuff. It was that kind of communication that got us together, brought us together, and has gotten us so much further than we ever thought we would be. The first night that this happened, I wasn't expecting anything like the second night. I thought it was going to be a small turnout like this again, like this. I thought that's what it was going to be like. When I walked up to see this massive crowd with like barbecues, food, water, going around with hand sanitizer, napkins, stuff like that, taking care of people, I was like, holy shit. And pardon my French, but like, that hit me so hard, like it just impacted me. I was like, oh my god, dude, like look at this freaking place. It is packed right now. I wasn't expecting this at all, but like as soon as I saw it, do you know how happy I was? Dude, that first night, that was our experiment, dude. We didn't think anything would come of it. Honestly, we didn't think we would get the notoriety we did, and then all of a sudden the second day,
I don't think anybody thought.
No.
Until the cops showed up. And
even when we were in the midst of some of the rioting that was going on and some of like the scariness in the city, there was a thread there that felt like we're in this together somehow. I felt that when I met eye contact with a person. It was kind of a heavy set. He looked like one of my students. He looked like one of my students in that situation, you know, and like when I got closer to him, it wasn't him, but I was projecting, you know, what I thought was one of my students. And we caught eye contact.
Yep.
I don't like, and I told him with my eyes, you know, when I was looking at him, I was like, I don't like what you're doing. And like he kind of like thumped over a little bit, but then he still like walked in, you know. And it was like that moment, and it was like, you know what, like.
He recognized he was doing wrong.
I'm not gonna put him on camera. I'm not gonna put him in a situation where he's doing something criminal in this city to further criminalize a person that's already oppressed.
Yeah.
Because maybe he's doing something to try and get, you know, to get some control in his life. You know.
Maybe he's pressured by friends.
He's pressured by friends.
I mean,
There's so many things going on, you know, and who am I to judge?
It's not our place nor our job, dude.
And that's the thing about criminal writing. It's like, who are we to judge? We don't know what these people were experiencing, the kind of pain.
And honestly, we're
I
definitely not
George
perfect.
Floyd at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning. My friend from Duluth, his name's Kerwin, he texted me and said, "This hurts, girl. Like, you know, like this really hurts." And I've seen it, and from that point forward, I could not look away. I couldn't look away from the pain that this man was feeling.
Yeah.
When that, you know, when his like knee was on his neck and he couldn't breathe, and I couldn't look away. You know, couldn't ignore it. I had to take a stand. So,
In all honesty, that's kind of why we're here. Like, we all kind of felt the same way in our own way. We've all had experiences where we felt like that injustice has been so real. You know, but like, I'm sure, and I know for a fact I've had moments where I froze. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there were moments where I froze, and I felt so ashamed afterwards, but like, it's reality. You know, I thought to myself, what can I actually impact? What can I actually change by stepping in this moment, you know?
That poor girl, she's getting death right now. She's a 17-year-old girl who was on the corner when it was happening and kind of just going live. You know, she's someone that, you know, I'm glad that they spoke about in the eulogy today, that they're like looking after her, you know, because like, she was scared, you know, like the police were deep in that situation, you know, and, you know, who knows what kind of force they could have done to keep that going, you know, keep whatever's happening to George going.
I do deliveries sometimes for food, like Uber Eats, DoorDash, some crap like that. It's like, I saw that 2 weeks before. I was downtown and flipped off of this diner, go pick up some food, and I'm waiting for my food, and Holmes, dude drives, riding his bike down the street, just like coming towards the shed or whatever. He's across the street. I get my food. By the time I get out, he rolls up 2 squad cars, hop out, and they both just like grab him, and then he's on the other side of the fucking car, and he's yelling about like, hey, what the fuck I do? What I do? You know, and then I was like, oh man, that sucks. I got in my car and got to go deliver my food. But, you know, like shit like that happens. I'm thinking, I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, it's like normal everyday shit.
I know you kind of look at that situation and you're like, do I really step in now? Like, I don't know the circumstance, you know? That's the hardest part right now.
Yeah, because I felt like, I just saw a dude, like, he was just, like, casually, you know, riding his bike, like, down the street. It didn't, like, seem like he was, like, running away from fleeing or
There's an
something.
authority out there that even if you were to walk up and try and righteously ask, like, what's going on, you know? Their justification in their eyes is better than your justification. You know, your justification for just being there and asking them, like being just and asking them what's going on here. You know, they'll say, well, you know, this is a crime scene. You know, like you need to step back. You know, get the fuck back. You know, and they will use their force to overwhelm your justice. You know, like you're in that, and that's like
you're involving yourself. So maybe you guys.
At that point, you could be an accomplice, and that's how they see it. They're going to shut down any possible threat they can as quickly as possible. It's systematic too, and I hate saying that, but it's true. They do that. They target anybody that's in the area that might prove them to be guilty. And it's the good old boys club, and I fucking hate saying that. And it's not prevalent everywhere, but like for the people that are bad, the people that abuse it, like there are enough bad people around them or enough people afraid of the repercussions that they can get away with it. At least maybe for today, they'll get away with it. But what about tomorrow? What if, you know? And you don't even need to say what if. Look at what happened here. Again.
Imagine if everyone would have stayed silent.
Yeah. We wouldn't be out here protesting this shit. We wouldn't be having this intellectual conversation. Correct. We wouldn't be having this debate.
There wouldn't be the murderers and the murder and accomplices in jail.
Exactly. We wouldn't have had justice.
There wouldn't be like a steady stream, like on Twitter right now. There's a fucking steady stream of unfortunate events that are happening all over. You know, so this is like it's opened up a wound. You know, it's opened up a wound.
Oh, girl, you're
that's
still here.
To everyone.
I live here.
Right here?
Outside.
Where's your bed?
I got a question though, y'all. Do y'all know any like construction people or like architects or anything like that?
Like rebuilders type of
Something
thing?
about these potholes, I don't like that shit. I need to figure out how we can get that closed up or sealed or something. I keep falling in them and it's all wet.
Just bring either a ton of like really dusty cat litter, like cheap, it's gonna be dusty, or bring like sand or something to fill it.
But there's not for me to say.
No, not really.
I mean,
not at the moment.
Let me go check my purse. Hold on.
I'm gonna go. No, like that. I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna go look it up.
You're amazing.
Yeah, you know, I got some little. I know a couple of dudes who used to do construction. Who told me they do construction.
But yeah, guys, this was an intellectual conversation between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. About 10 individuals that have come and gone. You know, this is the kind of change that we're trying to create here. You know, these are the kind of conversations we're trying to have. We're trying to step forward out of our comfort zones, talking with individuals who we have no background with, and come to an understanding on whether we can agree or we agree to disagree. You know, and we leave it at that. That's progress. That is progress that we are finally making. You know? Before all this, I'm not going to lie. I never would have talked to a single one of these people.
It's all for cloud.
I never would have talked to a single one of them before tonight. But here they are listening. You know? Here we are listening to each other. We don't change the narrative in a day. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. But with the small steps that we're taking now, you know, with the small steps that we take tomorrow, the small steps that we took yesterday, those steps have gotten bigger and bigger as we've pushed this movement across the world. We don't realize here how impactful we've been until we started watching the media, watching the news from around the world. When we started asking these reporters where they're from. We just had one from Germany a couple hours ago here saying, hey, this is the situation, you know, this is what it's like. We're all good here. This is how it should be, you know. We need that push. We need that worldwide push to show that we can unite together as one people, as one human race. The more we can do that, the more we can push for that, further along we are at creating change. You know, it's just one small step in the grand scheme of things. Granted, yes, you know, as long as we're taking one small step forward, we are still making progress. Many people like to use the analogy that we take one step forward, 2 steps back. Well, that's not always true. Sometimes we take 1 step forward and 1 step sideways. Sometimes we take ourselves out of the picture for a minute. We step out, we assess our situation, and then we step back into it rather than regressing back into a situation that we have been trying to avoid or repeat in many cases, you know? This is not something that we start and stop when we feel like it. No, this is something that once it's started, it's going to build momentum or die. There's no other option there. There is no other option there. It either starts and builds momentum and we keep doing shit, or this momentum dies and we let it all burn. We let it all go to waste, you know? Any knowledge that we have in this area, guess what? We share that shit.
Where you go? Be right there in front of us.
How you doing, brother?
Tell him to leave 5 times.
No, we're out here policing ourselves. We gotta do our own thing.
I'm gonna go up by my people.
We don't walk by our people too on Shorty.
Yeah.
We got guns and all that.
You better tell them people. You better tell them
police. Hey, we killing police.
Period.
I love the conversation we've had here, guys. It's been nice to talk with all of you. It's been great.
Can I just say one thing about, are you live streaming?
No, I'm not live streaming.
I was just gonna...
I'm just recording right now for my people that have been watching my videos and stuff like that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to say whatever that guy just said. That has not been the vibe or attitude at all tonight.
No. Yeah, we've been policing ourselves.
It's not the move, it's all passion.
Yeah, right for them, it's probably passion right now.
Exactly. I can't judge that.
Let them speak on it. Let them do what they need to do, but at least they're doing it outside of where we find this to be a sanctuary, you know?
Whatever they got going on, that has not been the vibe.
Yeah, and they're settling it in their own manner, you know? Like I was saying earlier, guys, in the video, we are policing ourselves. They're walking outside of our perimeter, and they're dealing with whatever situation they had, you know?
Yeah, because they know it's not welcome.
You know, it's not welcome here. We're going to shut that shit down real quick, you know? We've got media presence here. We've got intellectuals over here, talking about, how to save our world, right?
Right. How to come together.
How to come together. This is the kind of narrative that we want to push.
Right.
And over here, we have these guys pushing their own, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But when it becomes a paid state opinion,
right,
it gets a little skewed. I'm not going to lie. It's a little biased. Backpack journalism is what's getting us all the information out there.
When they were showing up on the streams, you guys were here, but when they were showing up, they did not set up in front of this. Weren't they setting up? I mean, maybe someone did, but weren't they setting up in front of ugly, nothing with beauty?
They weren't really getting this image.
So it's that opened my eyes too. I always knew that mainstream media was a little...
They're at least a little biased, man. They're trying to push it.
I always knew that, but this really opened my eyes.
It makes sense.
We had a journalist named Nico who has excellent credentials. Yeah. He has an ethical manner in which he works with people, you know, and he asks them for their consent before he actually starts filming them. Yeah. He's not just here. He's not just here like looking for squirrel bait. You know, like what's the shiny thing that's going on right now? No, he's actually having real conversations with people. And just trying to get them to share their stories.
That's what's going to help people think. That's what's going to
Yeah.
get those thoughts rolling and really make them think for
I was
themselves.
interviewed by
make their own
both.
opinion.
I was interviewed by Nico
Yeah,
and
Andrew
Andrew Mercado. And both had that same manner, you know, that same ethical journalism. And some people like,
just trying to push the truth,
crossing
dude.
the line. Yeah. You know, they're not thinking about the ethics. They're thinking about ways that they can make this into clickbait.
Yeah.
That's I think what she was saying, just about keeping this space clean and sacred, and investing in this space is really important because representation matters. And I think the cops, the big time media, they're looking for any opportunity to shed negative light on this. They're looking to say, hey, they're in the streets, they're dirty, look at all this trash. So
they're looking
to get the fights. They're looking to get those things. But that's why I think, to go back to your point, backpack journalism is so great because it really gets more into the thick of things, and it doesn't just get, oh, boom, here, these like, you know, isolated incidences. It really gets at the heart of it.
And it's all raw.
And it's stuff that they're taught too. They're taught how to do a feature on someone. They're taught how to interview someone. They're taught how to have ethics. You know, they're working for a system that doesn't necessarily respect ethical journalism.
No.
Well, it's still. I think that's more capitalist journalism.
Yes.
Is as the term that I've heard, and it's really just journalism to generate profits, right? To get clicks, to get money, to get people to invest in this news station. Because I'm the first broadcaster on the scene. I'm the one that can capture this. I'm the one that can get this. And it really has no concern about what the people of the community are going through, what progress is actually being made. It's all just about, you know, being in the moment and getting that happening that just comes out. You know?
Honestly, like I feel like we haven't even really been reporting real news for at least a couple of decades. Like when it comes to actual crime, there's a lot of big cities that you won't read about, like small crimes that used to happen and that you would used to read about. Like they don't bring that kind of thing up into like the numbers and statistics.
Investigative journalism stories where people would like immerse themselves in environments.
For real.
And like come to really like
let people form their own opinions.
And like people would come to their own conclusions about what this journalist experienced. You know? Instead of them trying to bend the narrative with a particular bias, you know. And that bias can be formed by its political affiliations. It can be, you know, like cultural, you know, whatever.
Oh, you guys! I thought you guys left. Are you heading out now? Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Honestly, the influences that like affect our media are very widespread. Like it's not just like small like business owners trying to get their name out there. You're talking like big corporations that are like subtly hiding hidden agendas and messages.
Yes.
You know? Like granted, there's good things that come out of it, but like Big Pharma, for example, a lot of the medications that they have on their TV ads have all these horrible side effects. But it's because of all their media coverage, it's because of all these doctors that step forward. They push their agenda one way. Now with backpack journalism, you don't get all that. They list out for you all of the side effects of these medications you're taking. You know, they say, hey, this is what this is going to cause. You know, are you sure you want to take this? We're going to show you everything that's in it, give you the real pill, and then it's up to you to decide how you want to take this.
Human nature, you know, who goes down first? Unicorn or Andrew Mercado, you know? I mean,
exactly.
Be like, all right, so Unicorn, how about, you know...
Hey, do you want to be on camera?
Right.
Like tell us what's going on.
We'll sponsor you for $300,000 to make that film about whatever, you know.
I'm going to downtown thing tomorrow. You guys know about this?
No, what time is it?
3 o'clock? Yeah.
3 o'clock p.m.
3 o'clock. Yeah,
I'll try to be down there. Where is it?
Meeting over at the
It's,
stadium.
I think it's outside of US Bank again, where it was the other day.
So we're not going to be going out any higher, right?
Okay.
I need
Sweet.
to be in a successful thing like that again, like we did on Friday. But that one on Friday was it was seamless, and we don't have to be on 35.
This one's organized by the same people too.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool.
I think they're calling it like unfinished.
Royce
On the what?
It's like unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Yeah.
That whole 35W occupation started with a text message from Royce.
Do you know Nina Ferguson?
Who was it?
Nina Ferguson. She went to DSR.
All right, guys. So for those of you that don't know, there is another peaceful gathering tomorrow downtown. It's called Unfinished Business. It starts at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll be sharing this video as soon as I get home, so you guys will have time to watch these videos as you wake up. This one is going to be a long one, so I'll kind of do another video to sum it all up. You know, some of the conversation that we had, for those of you that can't watch all of it or are busy. I understand that, you know, everyday life still happens, but, you know, I want to get this information out there. I want you guys to know exactly what we're doing out here. Uncut, raw, unedited information to the people. It's called truth, and there's not a lot of places that do that anymore, you know? This is what we're about. This is what we're doing.
So sad when you think of it, because LA is also one of the most diverse cities we have.
And while it has been peaceful here, unfortunately, that hasn't been the case.
What up, bro?
Including a disturbing video out of Buffalo, New York.
We got some local patrol coming through, you know, doing their job, making sure it's safe. These guys are part of the neighborhood, man. They're checking each other up. We got our live TV, stuff like that. We're just trying to get our message across, guys. Unedited,
Like,
raw
if you think about
information.
the higher powers that be, right? Like white people in politics, like CEOs, like big people. How do they spread their messages? How do they grow? They have conferences. They go to different cities, right? They interact with people and network. And I think that's really the next step for a movement like this, is we need to connect with other cities, you know? Like Minneapolis is a hub. Like, and it's such a perfect hub because it's so central to everything, you know what I mean?
Quite literally.
Everything feeds into it. But I mean, that's kind of the next step, is like, you see how all capitalism, all this business, big pharma, politics, how everything gets accentuated is conferences, networking. They have all these big events. Like, what's the biggest thing Trump is talking about right now is this dumbass Republican National Convention that he's not going to hold in North Carolina anymore because they won't lift COVID restrictions, right? Like, it's all of these conferences, these meetings that they're bringing in people from different cities to really grow this idea, to grow this movement.
You can't have rallies right now, which was like...
You hear that, guys? We need to start networking. We need to start connecting to each other while we're out here in these streets, you know? We're sharing information, yes, but are we actually connecting with other people? Are we actually connecting with resources that can help us to push this movement on a more permanent basis?
We can all just be on the same page about things.
Yeah, I would love to. But yes, like we were saying, we do need to connect more.
I'm also on Twitter, and then you know, if you guys want to have my cell phone number too, I'm okay with that. You know,
What's
there's good people.
Remind me of your name again?
I'll say I'm on Facebook.
I won't give out anybody's personal information just for their privacy and safety concerns. But I do want you guys to know that we are trying to get this networking thing going. So if you're with us, you know, share this information, you know, hit up all your people, you know, that you can make connections with and get, you know, this networking thing going. You know, I want to be a part of this as much as you guys do. But like our speakers said here, we need to network. We need to get our point across at these conventions and stuff like that. You know, this is how we do it. We start small, we start networking locally, and we start spreading out. You know, we're trying to do this. You know, I love you guys.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get this going for a while. We all have. So help me out, guys. Share this information, you know. Get with your people, network with us, you know. Tell them about us. Tell them about this group that's trying to set up resources for lasting change. You know, we can get into the thicker details later, but I want to get this idea out there. Have a good night, brother.
Thank you for everything.
Take it easy, brother. See you tomorrow. Word. You know, let's get out there. Let's network, guys. Like, help me out with this. You know, we are trying to get this information to the world. We are trying to get the world network together so we can stand against this as a united front, as an organized front, as a front that is formidable to any government, any agency that's trying to take us down and oppress us. Be a part of this movement with me, guys. I love you. I'm going to let you go. This is a really long video, but I will be uploading this directly to my Facebook page. Share it, share it, share it. Share this information. Let's network. Thanks, guys. Love y'all. Have a good night. We're done here.